You have to protect your peace at all costs. Protect that peace at all costs. Do not allow one person's energy, their negative energy, to be projected onto you. I don't give a fuck who it is. Remove the labels and ask yourself, is it healthy for you?
Roll me Mac.
Do we have control over technology, or does it have control over us? I guess it depends on your insecurity and how deep your insecurity runs. Like, if you've never felt seen, social media runs your life. I can tell you that from somebody who has dealt with that throughout their life. I mean, I look back at the days of MySpace when I thought I was hot shit by posting topless pictures with a hat on as my profile picture, just trying to be seen. And it never was enough. Like, it was never enough trying to get as much recognition. Hi, see me? Look at my titties. But like there wasn't enough of that in that moment. You know what I mean? Like, back then, trying to get the praise for showing skin and stuff like that, just from watching TV. You watch enough TV shows and movies, and then you got like the hot guy or the attractive guy comes out with his shirt off and shit, and it's like, yeah, you want that praise. It's the narcissistic ways and the ego, bruised ego, just at stake, going on, trying to get that praise, which is never enough. It never ends. Like, there's never enough of that. So it's like it's a rabbit hole. It just keeps on going. You just try to see how far you can go and what you're willing to do. How far you're willing to sell your soul for attention, which is, you think is love, but it's not. It's really just all attention. And as to say, you determine if that attention is quality, if you will. But like technology, I believe that it controls us right now to the point of obsession, addiction, if you will. I can tell you from somebody who had an addiction to porn with technology. Yeah, using a cell phone, laptop, whatever, get your hands on to watch something to get that hit of dopamine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't even about how bad she was. I mean, it was helpful, but it was more about the hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hit of dopamine to the brain. And it's a feeling that you never get tired of. You know what I'm saying? Like, that hit, once it hits your brain, you chase that first high. You know what I'm saying? That first high is like, shit, man. That shit was amazing. Let's watch some more shit. Technology, though, we text and drive. It's not enough for us to wait until we get to where we need to get to talk to that person, because we got to have that hit of dopamine. That dopamine hits right to the brain. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's instant gratification. And when we get that instant gratification, there's a feeling, there's a high. And really the high is the anticipation of the message, not the actual message. I'm saying, like, there's been plenty of times where I've been looking forward to, like, phone goes off, I got a message or some shit like that, and it'd be like, I'm outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing big. It's just the anticipation of what might be. It's like you're just waiting for something to come, which is great for the social media creators, Mark Zuckerberg and even Tom with MySpace, that scroll. You're constantly getting hit. You're waiting to get new feed, new news. What happened today? You don't want to miss out. The fear of missing out is there, and we just get so consumed by it. I mean, it even takes over us as parents, if you will, and our kids are going to do what they see. So you look at the young kids that are coming up, and what, like, the kids that have been in the last 10 to 15 years, they've been watching their mother and their father plaster themselves over social media. So what does that do? That gives them, oh, this is how it's supposed to be done. This is normal. to me. So then they become part of a narcissistic wave of being on social media, posting selfies, believing that your life is more important than it really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been guilty of it, played our part in it. But like technology right now, I would say social media is a teenager, right? Social media is a teenager, a reckless fucking teenager with no kind of boundaries. And we require some boundaries because it's going to get out of fucking control. That's chaos. Chaos is going to ensue at some point in time. If it had, obviously, worse than what we've seen already. Again, the internet, being established, what was like in the 90s, then having social media like in figure like 2001 or whatever the fuck, early 2000s, when, social media became fairly large. And then it's like, what is this thing? Okay, we're going to do Facebook, and it's only going to be for college kids, which I wish would have stayed there. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people would definitely be more focused on their families, more focused on themselves, had they not had something that put up a mirror to our insecurities and wants us to put everything in our lives onto a social media platform in hopes of getting a clap, a like, love, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? The feeling that, we're so more, we're so important. And to the point where we're more comfortable sharing our deepest thoughts to a computer world, the computer community, than our own fucking families. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely taken its toll on us in many ways. And like I said, I'll be the first to admit I'm guilty of everything that has came with this social media revealing insecurities. And like I said, I look at social media as like a kindergarten class. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody in kindergarten is like, look at me, look what I got. I made breakfast. Look at my plate, on a paper plate with some raglass eggs, bacon. You know what I'm saying? It's no presentation put into it, but it's like, look, I made breakfast. Okay, cool, great. Man, that sounds good. It's like, did you have to post that shit? You know what I mean? Like, I remember being in Dave & Buster's in Miami in 2010. And I remember I watched people asking waiters to take pictures of them and their family. Like, there used to be a point in time where all we had was Polaroids, right? Or whatever little cameras and shit from the 90s. Nobody was trying to take pictures of themselves at dinner, our lunch and shit like that. We were in the moment, you know what I mean? But because of this thing that can build up, instantly, we'll get this instant hit of dopamine by showing, look, I'm a family man, I'm a family woman, I'm doing these things with my kids, I'm a good dad. All perception, you know what I'm saying, just by the picture. And we're pretending online. We're showing ourselves in a way that can be very misleading to our authentic selves. Because, don't get me wrong, some people are bearing their shit up there. They'll show the bad parts of their life. But a lot of times it's the highlight reel. So the highlight reel put to something that reveals everybody's insecurities. So depending on how your fortune is in your life will determine how you feel about the stuff that you see on social media. You start comparing shit. And you forget all the things that you've been blessed with in your life. You start thinking about what you don't have versus the shit that you do. And it affects us all. I mean, all of us are not immune to this disease known as technology. But technology is not the technology itself. It's our thoughts on technology and our usage of technology. I believe there is much benefit in technology. I mean, hell, you wouldn't be able to watch this shit if it wasn't for technology, or, to communicate with family, with people that, like for us that were military, that were born, I say born in the military, but like we're military brats. When I used to leave, like my dad used to get orders that was the end of my friendships. Like I don't know them no more. Like we move and shit like that. But thanks to technology, I'm able to communicate. Like let's say I move or whatever, I'm able to keep in contact with the folks I was in the Air Force with. You know, like we're able to communicate through social media platforms and of course, you know, cell phones and all that, or even visitations and stuff like that. But like technology does have benefit, but it definitely requires some form of boundary. Like there has to be some form of rules that have to be established so that we can prevent chaos from happening in our lives. You know what I mean? Like there's Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Twitter's wild. Twitter got crime. Literally, Twitter has crime on the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't realize how dark like Twitter could be. And I'm not the most tech savvy individual, but when I was on Twitter, like looking at stuff like recently, like within the last few months, I'm literally seeing videos of people getting capped off in the middle of the street, you know, like drive-bys and all this shit. Like, wow, I don't believe that this is on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never think of a day that could be so freely to see this shit. But that's technology used in a way that can promote violence, incite fear, whatever you want to call it. But it doesn't have to. Technology doesn't have to control us. But truthfully, it really depends on our insecurities. How deep rooted are our insecurities will determine if technology controls us. Some of us would rather get a like online than learn to love our family members, you know what I'm saying, around us, figuring out their insecurities, figuring out how we can love them better. Like I said, I believe we're all guilty of this shit. It's just, you don't realize something until you sit and think about it. And I know technology has done a number on myself, for sure. Definitely, I allowed my insecurities to be succumbed by the pressures of social media and technology and all that stuff. So it's like being able to see it, detach yourself from your ego. You know, I got ego as a motherfucker. The ego is never satisfied. It's never enough. That's how you know who's talking for you. When you start feeling down and shit like that, that's not you. That's not the soul. That's your ego. Your ego is like, I'll never be enough. I'm not good enough. So I have to be this in order to be loved. You're fine just the way you are. You're not incomplete. You're not broken. Let that song sink in your fucking head. You're not incomplete. You're not broken. You're fine just the way you are. Fuck that ego. The ego ain't worth two dead flies smashed, okay? But technology definitely controls us right now, I believe. Collectively, technology controls us. But, I mean, awareness is the first step in improvement. And I believe that if we pay more awareness to ourselves, our usage of it, our minds, being mindful, and priorities, really, figuring out what's important to us, I think we'll be good. Yeah, we'll be good.
Hey, what up, everybody? Yeah, do me a favor real quick. Just hit like, subscribe, and of course comment if you have anything, obviously to mention about the show.
At what point does working for a better life become an unhealthy obsession? Well, I believe for me, when when sometimes your lofty goals turn into fantasy, I believe that's when it can become an unhealthy obsession. I know for sure with me throughout the years, I mean, hell, when I first moved to Miami, I wanted to be this big time music producer. I just knew that I was gonna go to Miami, and Pitbull and, you know, Wayne, everybody that was big at the time, Ace Hood, all of them, I just knew that they were going to, I was somehow going to get signed. You know, I lived in that dream world, you know what I mean? Like, it was ego, nothing but ego, trying to, again, it seeped in, and just thinking that, you know, I'm going to be a music producer. Not knowing the ins and outs of that shit, what it takes. I didn't do a fifth of what has to be done in order to become a music producer. But it became an unhealthy obsession. I still live and breathe music, but I was trying to, I was trying to make it. I truly was. I truly was trying to make it. And there's still time. That's the thing about producing music. I mean, as they say, Quincy Jones didn't do Thriller until he was 50. I mean, he was doing music from like 13 years old, but you know, as far as making like producing a record, there's still time. But you know, trying to make a better life for yourself becomes an unhealthy obsession when it's more detrimental than it is beneficial to you. And I can say that I've allowed myself to get to a point of unhealthy obsession with things in life. Would I say currently now? No, I don't think so. I believe I am just as determined as one has to be in order to do things that have never been done before, at least in my life. The people around me, the people I've met, I'm doing something that I haven't seen before. Is it scary? Fucking right it is. It's scary as shit. And I would say the toughest part of it all is knowing that everybody that you've started with is not going to end with you. And that goes from family, friends, obviously co-workers, because it's interchangeable and shit like that. But having that drive in you, that no matter what the fuck happens, I'm going to make it. That's another Les Brown thing. You know, no matter what happens, I'm going to make it. When you're neglecting yourself, I believe is when it becomes an unhealthy obsession, and you become something that is not beneficial for you. I'll say that. I mean, you definitely want to become something that you're not, because that's the whole point. I don't want to go somewhere where I've seen it before. I want to go somewhere where I have never been. So I'm going to have to do things I've never done. And but like when you start neglecting yourself, when you have anxiety attacks, panic attacks, from not taking care of you, when you're just so hell-bent on making it, you know, like hell-bent on making it, that you are losing yourself, like your health is fading. I believe that's when it becomes an unhealthy obsession, and I've been there. Yeah, definitely been there. And yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, man. But that passion, some of us just have it. Some of us just have that drive that no matter what the fuck happens, I'm going to see this through. I'm willing to risk losing you, if that's what it takes, in order to obtain goals in life. You know what I'm saying? Sacrifice is essential. It's truly essential. And I know that one day it'll pay off, for sure. It's definitely going to pay off. And being laser focused, not allowing yourself to fall into the matrix of life, and remembering that you're not able to do a lot of things that other folks do, because you're going to get what other folks get. So it's like being that laser focused, having that discipline. But as you go along, I've learned to adapt, adjust when I've gone and done a certain thing and it wasn't beneficial for me, where I put too much energy into this woman versus focusing on my goals. I've allowed this woman to use her tantrums as a distraction in my life, projecting her insecurities onto me. So now, being more disciplined at this age, at this point in my life, I don't allow any of that shit in it. You know what I mean? Like, what it's going to take peace in order to get to where we're trying to fucking go. You know what I'm saying? Like, working. Anybody in my life is going to have to come with peace. I will not have any form of chaos around me. You know what I mean? Call that unhealthy? Sure. I'm the most unhealthiest motherfucker you ever go see then, because it's not happening. It's not happening. That shit is too contagious. Negative energy is too contagious, just as much as positive energy is. So it's like learning to work at that. You know what I mean? Like the unhealthy obsession of trying to get a better life. Yeah, it like I said, it gets rooted in how far is the ego. Are you operating from the ego? Or are you operating from the soul? And that's a lot of times the ego is running the show when you're that far gone, when you really are trying to like you're just caught up in the fantasy of making it versus doing something you love and letting God and the universe do what they do and bless you with something that's going forth. So early on, when I wanted to be a music producer, yeah, I was caught up in the limelight, the way it looked on TV and all that stuff, making money, the girls, the cars, you know what I'm saying, going into VIP in the club. I'm in my early 20s. I'm 22 when I moved to, you know what I'm saying, like Miami. But now I'm working on something that it not just benefits me, it benefits our society, drawing awareness to our I want to say our toxic ways, you know what I'm saying, in hopes that you're able to see it in your own life, that you can kind of better yourself for it. So not only do you make it better for me for being around me, and you, if you decide to, you know, to obviously, if you find it beneficial to you to better yourself, you'll better that for your families. You know what I'm saying? So if we have healthier kids, we have less issues at holiday functions. You know what I'm saying? Like family members can come around each other and not take shit personal. They can heal themselves. And maybe we can learn to love each other a little bit better. You know, learn to love unconditionally. Learn to not make shit about them. Learn to not make people do, you know, try to control people, manipulate people. Yes, unhealthy obsession. I've had them. I've had them, and looking for, like I said, trying to find a better life. I won't knock anyone for trying to do so. Just learn from the mistakes along the way, and see how far it gets you. I mean, tomorrow is definitely not promised, but we can leave it all in the day, and we continue to do our best. I'm certain that there will be some benefit that comes of it. How many of your teachers can you name from start to finish? Okay, so let's go back to Cuba. Kindergarten, that's where I started. So Miss Whitmore, first grade, Miss Behringer. Second, Miss Lori, maybe. I think that's her name. Third grade, Miss Waters, Green Holly Elementary in Lexington Park, you know, when we were stationed in Pax River. Miss Cook in the fourth grade. That's the last time I was there in Green Holly. That was the last teacher I had. Miss Carey in the fifth grade. Sixth grade, of course, you got multiple teachers. So there was Miss Copeland, Miss Lundquist. So seventh grade, Mr. Lynn, Miss Phelps. Eighth grade, Miss Ash, God rest her soul. Miss Hicks, Mr. Parker, Mr. Parker was technology. All right, ninth grade. Ninth grade was Mr. Maupin, Miss Cofield, Miss Guerrero, Coach V, Mr. Jones. Yeah, Mr. Jones. 10th grade, Mr. White. Keep going. I'll go to 11th grade. That's all I can think of that one. Miss Handy for English. Coach Lee again for advanced PE. Miss Langer taught U.S. history before she left. Miss James, yes, Miss James, God rest her soul. I can't forget in 11th grade. I can't forget Miss Ficklin. Miss Ficklin, we had for chemistry. We were horrible. That was her first class. We were pretty bad. And still in 11th grade, Miss Guerrero, I had her for Spanish 3. Miss Carrington, again for 10th grade. I just remembered that. Miss Anderson for keyboard. Can't forget Miss Roscoe. Shit. Miss Roscoe back in the 7th grade, fine as hell. But we had keyboard with her. Miss Duncan for DECA. Yep. Miss Duncan, we had business class for DECA. Oh yeah, Miss Byram. We want to be rude to you. Yeah, her and hell. So Miss Byram, I think Miss Harris was in there. She was a teacher assistant as well. That's pretty much all I can think of from my time in school. But oh shit, I can't forget. Yeah, Miss McLemore. I had Miss McLemore in 9th grade. Yeah. I had some dope teachers, and I had some teachers I really didn't give a fuck about. That's all I can remember from my time in school. All those names. Yeah, I mean, even that I think is a win in itself. Be able to remember all those names. That's what I got. Does life need to have a purpose, or can you just live purposeless? I believe that is all perspective. And there's a part of me that feels both. I would lean more on the side of having a purpose though. Cause I mean, if you think about it, we could die today. What would it matter? What would the purpose matter? You know what I mean? But in the event that I do live a little bit longer, I would like my purpose to share my knowledge, my wisdom, my story, my pain, my insecurities, in hopes that my peers are able to see themselves in me and understanding their emotions a little bit better, especially men. Especially black men, because we're really not taught to deal with our emotions. And I believe our relationships can go a hell of a lot better. We'll know who to weed out of our lives if we had more emotional intelligence. We wouldn't tolerate such fuckery in our life if we had better emotional intelligence. You know what I'm saying? But having a purpose gives you reason to get up in the morning. You know what I mean? Like something, you're working towards something. No matter what. If you have a purpose for living and you stick to that purpose and you have your why, you remember your why, you can endure anyhow, as they say. And I've been grateful to have that why. You know what I mean? Like being so focused, so goal focused, so driven. Don't get me wrong, my fair share of distractions and I've had throughout this process, but you get back on the horse and remember, like that why is so constant. It's like, why are you doing this? Remember why you're doing this. When you don't feel like doing videos, when you don't feel like you're enough, when you feel like you have imposter syndrome and you don't deserve any of this shit that you've built. the why is right there. Because it's not about you. It's about I would say the soul of the universe, if you will. Being able to show that this does exist in the world, that men can be emotionally intelligent and still be masculine and care for their people and learn how to love unconditionally. It's not fucking easy. When you don't come from an unconditionally loved family, it can be an adjustment period, so old habits die hard. But the more you train the brain, the better it will adapt. Like, this motherfucker won't leave it alone. All right, fine, we'll love unconditionally versus being done with family members. Some you have to, you have to protect your peace at all costs. Protect that peace at all costs. Do not allow one person's energy, their negative energy, to be projected onto you. I don't give a fuck who it is. Remove the labels and ask yourself, is it healthy for you? Mommy, daddy, kids, all that, you know what I'm saying? Obviously still be there for your kids when they actually need something. But as far as like the day-to-day life and allowing, like some of us that allow our kids to just, say whatever the fuck they want to say, like to a bullying standpoint, like if you don't feel like you're strong enough and you allow your kid to bully you and all that stuff, you gotta ask yourself, do you want that energy in your life? You know what I mean? And living with a purpose, yeah, it pushes you forth. It allows you to withstand some bullshit. It teaches you to manage the fucks that you give on a day-to-day basis. And living purposely is also another effective way of living, because you're indifferent about everything. You don't care. And he or she who cares less wins. You know what I mean? Like, you just go through life. Okay, cool. Like, you don't have an emotional response to anything. You just live. And I would say, like I said, I really would say that I do both. There are things that happen. I'm like, okay, cool. I practice indifference, not to shun the person's moment. Like, I really am. Like, if somebody shares their moments with me, I would generally tell them that I am proud of your efforts and what you've done. As far as like bringing the fantasy with it, oh my God, this is super amazing, and all that shit, I'll save that for my kid. And even then, like, I still practice indifference, but as far as just again, I want to be genuine about it, if that makes sense. Authentic with what I share to my peers, the people that I claim to value. Like anything I've ever shared with you, if I ever, gave you, I would say praise you for your efforts. I'm very mindful to praise people for their efforts, because we tend to work on the things that are being praised. So if I praise you for your effort, you're more inclined to work even harder on said effort. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to tell a girl how pretty she is, how beautiful she is. What else is new? You know what I'm saying? That shit fades. Beauty fades in all of us, depending on how hard you work. But as far as like the efforts of becoming a better person, that's something that I believe is more worthy of recognition than that of, damn, you fine, you so pretty, look at your muscles, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, any of that shit. But becoming a better person all around, you know what I mean? That's how you get to a better life. But living purposeless, like I said, there's benefit in that, because nothing gets to you. And, you don't allow petty shit. You shut off your ego, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I'd be lying if I say my ego didn't have a part in my purpose. Still running from the soul of it all. But there's still that I want to become this. You know what I mean? Having a goal, something down the line worthy of achieving. But when you live purposeless, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're indifferent. You have no care, and nothing gets to you. You remain calm, stoic, if you will. And I try to practice both. I really do. I try to pull from each, what benefits me, and using both methods of being, like, carrying yourself in a purposeless way, being indifferent, managing the fucks you give, because everything isn't worth a fuck. You know what I'm saying? So the reality of it all is that you can die today. You can. We literally can die today. And if you could die today, the thing that you're stressing about right now, what would it matter? You know what I mean? Like, we get so caught up on the ground level instead of looking at shit from a detached space, from space, from that matter. Like, looking at our issue right now as if we were out in space and seeing how small that is, or looking at something from 3 months from now. Would it still be effective in our life? Like, we allow so much of our energy to go to shit we have no control over. And I believe that stems from childhood. Being in a position where we've gone through something traumatic and we didn't feel like we had control. So as an adult, it's like, I'm not going to allow nobody to take control of me. But the more we try to control others, the less control we have over ourselves. And it shows every fucking time. That anxiety, no amount, Alan Watts has a quote, no amount of anxiety is going to change what's going to happen anyway, but we're so wired to that shit, wired to try to stop this person from doing this, prevent that person from saying this, instead of focusing on what's in our control, our response to it, what we say, what we do. And it comes with time. If it's never been brought to your attention, well, how would you even know to do the shit? But I love having purpose. My purpose is definitely the focus of my life. I like some of the traits that come with being purposeless, as far as indifference, you know what I mean? And not allowing so much to get to you, not taking anything personal, not making assumptions, just letting things happen. Amor fati, if you will, accepting life as it is, not what you want it to be. But like I said, I believe there's benefit, and like I said, in both mindsets. But that's all for now. Night, kids.